I built my miter saw station about 5 years ago, and part of the design was to have space to put my surface planer, and I've had that planer for around 10 years. And when I bought it, I didn't get it with the in-feed and out-feed table. Instead, what I did was I made this very simple sheet that slides in and locks in place. The sheet itself is 5/8 inch melamine, and it's held up really well over the 10 years I've used it, but I think it's time to make a replacement and also make a couple of improvements. The first improvement will be to make it a bit longer. I've always had problems on the outfeed side with the stock falling off the end. So rather than having it 3 feet long like the old one, I'm going to make the new one more than 4 feet long, and the extra will be on the outfeed side. I could easily make a new one, but I'm going to reuse the cleat that I had on the bottom of the old one, and there's not much to that. It's a block of solid wood, and it has a piece of 3/4 inch plywood on the bottom that hooks under the bottom of the bed. With the locking cleat fastened, I can slide it in and see how it fits. And this looks pretty good. Now there's a lot more sticking out. And of course that means that it will sag if something heavy gets on there. So I'll have to build some sort of support. But first I want to add something else to the table, something the old one didn't have. And that is guide cleats on both sides that keeps the stock from going outside of where the cutter is. The original bed has these, and that's what guides this new table in place, but they don't come up high enough to guide the stock. So I'm going to add ones made from strips of hardwood. The guide cleats don't have to stick up very high, and in fact there's part of the planer that will interfere with these and limit how thin a piece of material you can plane. But keep in mind that I used the planer with the old one for 10 years and never did have these, so I think this is more or less optional. There are a couple of ways that I can make a support for the outfeed, and the simplest of those is just a prop that fits down in a pocket on the planer cart and fits into another pocket on the underside of the new outfeed table. I'm going to make the prop from solid hardwood, and I want it just long enough so I can store it underneath the planer and still be able to put the planer away. The way this fits into the pocket is that it needs to be cut at a 45-degree angle on both ends. And then to make the pocket on the cart, I'm going to be using 3/4 inch plywood. And then I'm going to use 1/2 inch plywood for the pocket on the underside of the table, so that it's a little bit lower profile. I did some basic geometry, and that told me that the pocket has to be 15.5 inches down on the side of the cart, and also 15.5 inches over on the bottom of the outfeed table. And I'm going to fasten those with glue and pin nails.